We are rolling.
Got it.
Perfect. And the problem then is I never know how to start because it's not like I'm on the radio and a song ends and you can be like, that was Simple by Fia
Yeah,
Moon and here is Fia Moon.
yeah. We just be like, this is the Léim Thart podcast coming in on, I don't know. Oh my God, I clearly should never start my own podcast. I'm dying.
Well, you should start that podcast.
Yeah, I will. Watch out. Fierce competition, clearly.
Oh, well, we'll see now. But welcome, Fia Moon, to Léim Thart.
Oh,
That was me actually.
is this
That
actually
was
the
me
start?
actually trying to start.
Oh my God, I love my response. It's just like, oh. Okay, sorry, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Keep going with it. This is it.
Okay, cool. Great. I'm so happy to be here. It's so nice to speak with you. I love your podcast.
Thank you.
I'm delighted to be chosen as one of your guests. I love the t-shirt. I love the merch, repping all the Irish artists. Loving the setup.
Yeah, so I'm wearing a I'll say vintage Nilo t-shirt because he's had new ones since the album came out.
Oh, definitely vintage. Yeah.
Gotta represent that. Do I have anything else Irish in the room? I have a kneecap poster over there,
Is
and
that
then
Rihanna on the right or on your left?
that is Rihanna.
Yeah.
And funny story, when I moved into this place, I the day before or like on the day or something, I thought that I'd lost it. Like it's an anti poster.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was ripping my hair out for about 6 or 7 weeks, going like, where did it go? Like it must have gotten lost in transit or something like that. And then I realized I had a big stack of notebooks, and when I was putting them into boxes, I just had the poster, which was folded up, took it off the shelf, put it down, and put other notebooks
Oh,
on top of
so it
it.
was so
Picked,
safe. Like you put it there for safekeeping. Yeah.
yeah, I picked those notebooks out, put them in a drawer, and it was 6 or 7 weeks before I needed to take one of them out. And I found it, and I thought it's going above the top of the bed
Oh,
in
I
its
love it.
rightful place.
Prized place. Yeah.
Prize place, and then above me, I've got Leisha up there from her Lost Lane show. I remember I robbed the poster from the bathroom after. um, so Lost Lane, don't kill me.
I won't tell.
And then Ruth Ann as well. Gotta love it.
Oh, Ruth Ann is so incredible. Wow. She's also got very good, wholesome baby content at the moment, which I'm living for. Her Lily May is just ridiculously adorable.
She is. We were just talking. Love Nilo's baby. Love all this stuff. Love the aquarium that he carries the box around for. It made my heart melt, and I nearly want one of those aquariums for myself because
Yeah,
I always preferred aquariums to zoos as a child.
really. I mean, they're very relaxing, aren't they? Like something very soothing about being in a room full of glass and water and kind of floating animal fish.
Yeah, and I if they have penguins, that would just be so much better because I love penguins.
Same. Happy Feet used to be one of my favorite movies as well growing up.
I hope I never seen it. Oh, that just
Oh my God. Oh my, okay. Next time we speak, you better have watched Happy Feet.
yeah.
It's
Ugh.
so good. Even the music in it is quite good.
Yeah. Okay. I That's on the list to watch Happy Feet. I'll get that done. And yes, Ruth Ann has great baby content. We'll be talking more about Ruth Ann as we go on. But yeah, you're Fia Moon. So you've been around for a couple of years. The first time I came across you was when you were supporting Leisha in Lost Lane, November 2019, which seems ages ago in a way. I remember I'd seen your name on the bill, and then when I was inside, I had just gotten inside and I bumped into Ivan from Diffusion Lab, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, like she's really good," and stuff like that. And then I had such a good time listening to your set.
Oh, that's so funny because that was actually my last gig before the pandemic.
Mm.
So it wasn't until like summer 2020 that I kind of got back up on stage again. So it was over a year and a half later that I had to wait before my next gig after that. So that was such a special gig for me. And I also met my manager at that gig. And yeah, that was just the best night ever. And I was such a Leisha fan as well. So getting asked to support her was just so cool.
Absolutely crazy. Since then, been releasing lots of music, and it's just great to see more like pop musicians in Ireland because we have so many great folk or rock singer-songwritery bands and musicians, it's almost like pop is an alternative. Like it's almost hard to come by in terms of our own talent. So it's great to hear more people doing that. And so you've had supports, as we said, for Leisha, Wild Youth, the Coronas. You're one of the most heard independent voices on Irish radio. Over 30 million radio impacts, which I couldn't believe when I read. Like, I couldn't even count to 2 million. And believe me, I've tried.
It's so interesting that you just say that pop is actually almost like the alternative music here. And I never thought about it like that, but you're so right. There's actually so much less pop acts than there is indie or rock or folk or the other genres. And yeah, I mean, I have been so blown away by the radio support. I can't believe, especially by now, that the song that just came out, because it's so not commercial. And I really wasn't expecting much on radio, but it's like track of the week on 2FM and Spin, and it's nearly at 1 million impacts already, which is, it's not even a few days. And it's the highest I've ever been on any radio charts. It's number 2 on the Breakers charts, which has never happened with even my more commercial songs. So I'm like trying to figure out what's happening. But the radio support, especially not being able to do gigs and stuff, has just been so incredible the past couple of years.
Yeah, so as your stuff is, as you said, it's been rooted in pop, but like there's still more facets to it, like kind of more R&B feeling on XX, or the minimalism of Let This Go, which I can personally hear on like a Slowed and Reverb YouTube channel, one of those like niche corners of the internet. And
Oh yeah.
from there you were featured on Hot Press's Hot for 2021 list, and XX being named as their 5th best song of 2020, ahead of songs like, wait for it, WAP, Therefore I Am by Billie Eilish, and Kyoto by Phoebe Bridgers.
Wow. Didn't even realize that. That's insane. I mean, Hot Press have been so incredibly supportive. So I mean, yeah, that I was a bit blown away by that when I got the magazine when they announced all of that. And yeah, XX was an interesting one because it wasn't, again, my most successful song of the year. Better Days and Let This Go were potentially bigger than XX. So for them to choose that, I was pleasantly surprised. And yeah, I can't believe I beat Cardi B and Billie Eilish.
Yeah, well, I love that when those sort of, I don't know, lists come out, or even if there's just album reviews being done and you can read them in the publications, especially if it's like an artist that you like and you're going to know every song on that album. You know, often they put the like spotlight track or kind of one to listen to, and it's just one you wouldn't have expected. You know, you'd expect kind of the single or something like that to be chosen, but they choose like a deeper cut.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that, because for me as a listener, I definitely would appreciate being able to have somewhere where I can discover new music and discover something that I wouldn't normally find. And yeah, having choosing XX was again such a pleasant surprise and really cool, because it introduced that song again to people who may not have discovered it themselves, or because it didn't have the same limelight that was on it. So yeah, that was really, really cool.
And as you mentioned, Better Days, that was then played on Love Island over in America. And on those sort of shows, like you hear songs, and a lot of them you will know, but like I will always hop out of my chair when it's kind of someone that's either Irish or kind of someone you know. Like say this year on the UK Love Island, when they were doing the vows and the finale, they played an acoustic Dagny song, and I'm obsessed with her. So I was just going insane about that.
Yeah.
And then I was back in my parents' house and I heard my friend's song playing in the other room, which I'd never spoken about. I walk in to see what it was, and it was just playing on Made in Chelsea. I mean, as you have been as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's like, those kind of placements are so cool. Like, especially because I used to watch Made in Chelsea and watch Love Island. So to have 2 of my songs played on both of those series was so surreal. And like, even when like during the week this week, like a couple of my friends sent me a video being like, oh my God, you're playing in Starbucks, or like little things like that. And it's such a pick me up, like getting that sort of response, and it kind of makes it seem real almost, like when you're kind of at home doing your own thing, and like so much is virtual at the moment. But then when you actually are like, oh my God, I'm on the radio in real time, or I'm being played in coffee shops and restaurants and places where people who don't even know me are discovering it. And that's so surreal. And that's so cool that you were literally just at home and your friend's music was playing in the other room. Like, that's just like, I don't know, do you feel like you almost have not a sense of ownership of it, but just kind of like, oh my God, they're my friends. Like, that's like, I
Yeah,
can't believe.
you absolutely do. Like there was not a no way in hell that my anyone in my family could have just like stumbled across their
Yeah.
stuff. So the fact that I just heard it coming from another room, I just ran and I made them rewind it so I could send them a video, like you said, about your friend at Starbucks.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd say they really, really appreciated it, because it's just like, actually so funny you should say that, because one of my friends just texted me earlier today being like, oh my God, I just logged into my dad's Spotify and he's listening to Buy Now right now.
Oh,
Because the other way you can see it in real time. And I was like, oh my God, that is the cutest thing ever. And she was just saying, oh, he's a big supporter of yours. But like, I haven't seen her dad in years. And like, her dad is listening to my Spotify. Like, I was just so chuffed. So it's all the little things. And it's just so, so lovely.
yeah. Along with that, you have been in Irish Women in Harmony, that super group, which we'll be getting into further on. So we're here, obviously, to talk about your music. Where we had last year, just in the later half of the year, we had Simple, which I really enjoyed, and was just talking to you before we started recording about how much I love Lord, because I remember that came out the same day as Solar Power.
Oh my God, it did.
When I listen to it now, I don't think it'd be a million miles out, like sitting alongside the songs on that. You know, the fact that it's guitar and it's pop, and as much as she's a little bit left of center, she always mentions in interviews how she still likes to keep things pop in terms of structure.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I think solar panel power. So, oh my God, please, Lord, never listen to this interview, but also please listen to this interview. Um,
Oh, hi, Lord. If you're listening, hi.
so I think, yeah, that's so interesting, because I think like there's such a deeper meaning to the songs that she released on her album. I found them really, really interesting like that, because they're a bit more meaningful and deep, and but the production is a bit more light and kind of feel good. And that was similar to Simple, in that when you listen to the lyrics, they're kind of quite deep and meaningful, and not super upbeat and happy, but at the same time the production was very uplifting and feel good. So I think that maybe was the similarity between us.
Absolutely. And that has brought us to 2022.
Yeah.
And we have By Now, the current single. It's quite a funny story about how I kind of first came across it. So I first heard this in like a situation that is very similar, but also very different to that of the song. I heard it right after seeing the new Spider-Man movie, and bear with me on this, because me and my friends went to see it, and our other friend, who was probably like the most excited of all about this, he'd been talking about it for weeks, so much more excited than me. I was going as kind of just a total newbie. Our friend who loved it tested positive the day before, and so he didn't get to go see it. So it's such a bittersweet feeling walking home from the cinema and then opening up my laptop and listening to By Now.
Oh my God. So did you have a cry?
I didn't get a cry, but it definitely got like I felt it in my soul. And it's really funny because for as emotional as that was, they'll keep referring to stuff that happened in the movie in the weeks gone by, and I've forgotten so much of it. And they keep going, you were there watching it with us, and you forgot this. But the highlight of the day for me was By Now.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. Compared to Superman or Spider-Man. Oh my God. Clearly, I'm not a Marvel fan. Is it Marvel? I'm so useless at this.
Do you know what? It's funny. I don't even know.
Wait, let's just stick to the music, I think. It's probably for the best. Yeah, you know what? It's funny. One of my close friends is a super like Marvel fan, and I'm pretty sure Spider-Man is Marvel. Oh my God, I'm gonna be killed if this is wrong. But I was in Notting Hill and I stumbled across this like really cool old vintage like magazine shop, and I got on this like 1960s like Spider-Man comic, and it was like I had no idea whether it was like a cool thing or not, but I was just like, it's a 1960s comic, like it's so old. The paper was like literally like yellow. It was so old. And he like completely geeked out over it. He was like, this is the coolest present ever. But that's as close as I got to seeing the Spider-Man movie last year. And it's still being played this year. Oh my God.
It's still being played. I was just kind of there for the crack.
Right. Is it worth it?
Yeah, like I study multimedia, so even when I didn't wasn't that invested in like the plot, like there was a lot of stuff that fans would love. I
Right.
could still
Yeah.
appreciate like the visual effects and the cinematography and like the score and the audio mixing, like all those. That's my geeky stuff. Your friend has Spider-Man, I have score.
I'd be on a similar page to you then, I think.
I definitely did not think there would be so much Spider-Man talk in this.
No, 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 no.
And neither of
But
us know a thing.
no, well, moving on. I cannot believe that you listened to it that evening and it was more memorable than Spider-Man. That is a huge compliment. Thank you.
Well, like how did it come together? That's what I want to know.
So I was written. So actually, it started in a weird way at that Lost Lane gig that you were also at, because Ivan was there and he manages Days, who's the guy that I wrote it with. And I think Days might have been in the audience. And that was how he was kind of first introduced to me. And then our managers, like that was November time, 2019. And then our managers kind of got talking like in January time, 2020. And they were like, oh, the two of them kind of are very emotional songwriters. They should definitely get together. And so we did. And we'd never really met. We'd never met before that session. And we wrote By Now. And it was originally just me, the piano, and it was so incredible because obviously it was the first time of us ever meeting, but I had just kind of gone through this. I had been through a breakup, and it had been a little while after, and I kind of had this. I discovered that this other person had moved on before I had, and I had just discovered that literally the day previous to this session.
Oh, it's fresh.
Yeah, it was fresh. And what's interesting is I never go into sessions prepared, because if I do try and prepare, I always just completely it's just a flop. So I never go unprepared, and I just went in not having any idea what I was going to talk about. And he just started playing these piano chords, and the kind of melody for the chorus started, and then everything else kind of fell out. And I still have the piece of paper where I wrote all the lyrics down, and it's so funny because it's just we didn't even like cross lines out. We didn't like do too much editing. It was just like the lines we would just talk about and we'd write it down, and that was basically the song. And so I went and the plan was to just put a rough demo down, and I went into the vocal booth and I did it all in one take. Those are the vocals that you hear on the song today. I had it produced by Phil McGee, which is amazing, and he kind of worked his magic on kind of making it sound more polished. And I kind of could have gone back. I re-sang a couple of lines, but all of the verses, pre-choruses, everything is the exact same as the original demo. And there are certain songs, though, like my song "Falling for You," where they're better left unrevisited, because I could never recreate the emotion that I had that day, nor did I really want to, because it just kind of was, it was very heartfelt, and it was difficult enough for me to sing. So it was a really, really special process, and it kind of started a friendship with myself and Days as well, and we're really good friends now, literally 2 years later, which is crazy. It feels like, I don't know where, it feels like it could have been last year that we wrote the song. And it's an all Irish team that I worked on it with, and it's really special to have it out as personal as it is.
Yeah, like I was gonna ask even how that came together, because like I've been following Days since he like exploded onto the scene with Last Night, like just so gloriously pop, and
Yeah.
all the other songs that have come since. And I know he's a great piano player, so the fact that then came together. You
Yeah, well, what's special about it is he's so not everyone can make you feel so at ease. And I think always say it's not necessarily about how experienced someone is. It's just about what your natural connection is. And I was lucky in that, we were put in that session together, and he's someone that I feel like I can be very honest with, and there's no judgment, there's no awkwardness or anything. It's just he helps me be honest, and it kind of inspires me in a way. So it's really special.
definitely. And then you obviously mentioned Phil McGee as well, who's worked with, Gavin James, Wild Youth, Post Party, Lose, like a great roster of Irish talent. Like, what did he bring to the table then when you brought your demo into him?
I think I was quite a difficult customer, or not customer, but like I think I was quite a difficult artist to work with, possibly for him, because I was like, I want you to produce this, but I really, really, really don't want you to do much. I want you to make it sound like the demo, but a produced version of the demo. And he was kind of like, right, okay, how do how do we do this? But he is honestly one of the nicest, kindest, jolliest man I've ever worked with. He's just so patient and has the time for everyone. And it's just such a professional. And getting to work with him was just so lovely. And I kind of went back and forth with different ideas, and it was really, really produced at the start. And it was kind of the challenge of it was trying to figure out what bits to take away. And I really took a lot of different bits away in the end, but he really helped elevate the song. And really, I think what he's so brilliant at is vocal production and elevating vocals and making them sound like the main focus for the song. And that was really what I wanted from it. I wanted it to be all about the story and my voice and what I was saying. And he did such an amazing job for that. And it was so lovely, because I was, it was in the middle of lockdown, and it was like so nice getting to work with people at home. And we did manage one day in the studio, and I got to meet his lovely family and his dog, and he got me like a lovely present and stuff. And he was just so sweet and so kind, and just a pleasure to work with.
I think By Now could definitely be a contender for your best song so far. Can we expect potentially more Days or Phil McGee or both coming in the future with more of your music?
Oh my God, I can't believe you think it's potentially my best. Wow. Yes, definitely. Definitely. I love writing with Days, and I love writing with Phil. I've got a couple of my next songs ready to go, which I'm so excited about. And yeah, I mean, right now I'm back in the studio, and I'm back writing, and definitely I love writing with Days. We have a couple of other songs that we've written together that may or may not get released. Once you find people that you connect with, it's important to kind of keep them close and kind of cherish those relationships, because they're sometimes few and far between.
You obviously mentioned that you weren't too subtle about saying there's a few more songs coming, ready to go. Any exclusives?
Well. Well, I mean, I know what my next single is going to be, and it's a little bit different to By Now. It's really interesting because I feel like all of the singles that I've released are so different. I mean, By Now is so different to Simple. Simple is so different to Falling for You, so different to XX. And they're all very different, but they all have a common thread within them. And this next one definitely will have a thread in relation to By Now and Simple and Falling for You and Better Days. They all have a thread. But this one is definitely different to the other ones. And it stands out. I mean, they all stand out for their own different reasons, but it's all a chapter in one story that I'm very excited to end, maybe in a way, and begin again.
Bit of mystery is always good. One thing that was not a mystery was how proud I felt watching the Irish Women in Harmony when they started off in 2020, which is, oh my goodness, it's nearly 2 years ago now. I nearly cried though when I saw all of yous on like the late show and seeing everyone kind of socially distant but together, because so many female musicians together who are typically overlooked by radio, but all together doing something so cool. And even all the way down to like Ruth Ann being the producer on the cover of Dreams. There's not usually many female producers, especially in Ireland. Like, is there more of that coming?
In terms of Irish Women in Harmony, I know that there's definitely a tour coming.
I have my tickets.
Oh, I see you there. So that's definitely happening. There, I think there's other music that's in the works as well. But I know for sure that there's a tour coming, which I'm personally really, really looking forward to because, like you're saying, when you're, especially when you're a solo artist, you can feel very on your own and sometimes a little bit isolated. And the music industry is hard to navigate at the best of times. And especially during the pandemic and, like you're saying with radio and everything like that. And it was such an amazing union almost to come together. And even though we were kind of far apart, like we were all in different parts of the world when we first came together, we had that one thing bringing us together. And yeah, it really connected us. And it was something that really was such a huge silver lining for me during those first few months, even though I'd released Better Days and that was doing so well. That time of being part of that was one of the most purposeful, and especially because we were raising money for Safe Ireland and like something that was so important, and it was all about women supporting women. And yeah, it's something that I'm really proud to be part of, and I admire every single one of the girls.
Dead right. Yeah, and I'm so looking forward to the tour and sort of seeing you live again in a way. Again, it feels strange to say because it was so long since I saw you at Leisha, and I'm so glad in hindsight in a way that I saw you at that because even with Leisha, like yourself, I had been a fan for ages, but that was the one and only time that I've ever seen her,
What?
let alone even seeing her live because some people are based in Dublin and you just see them walking around or something, but that was the one time.
That's so interesting. And I was nearly not going to do that gig because I was actually in London at the time, and I just kind of feasibly it was really difficult for me to do, and I kind of initially was like I can't do it, and for whatever reason I was like I have to make this work. I just have to, whatever means that I need to pull and favors that I need to do to get a band together and pull this gig off, I need to do it. And it was the best decision ever because, I flew over from London. My family don't live in Dublin anymore. So I kind of rented somewhere to stay. And that night was so special because I didn't have a manager up to that point, and my manager happened to be my future manager, current manager,
Hi, Isma.
happened to be in the crowd, and that's how we connected. Yeah, shout out to Isma. And yeah, so many things happened, and that was the last gig that I did, and it just had so much meaning that I, in hindsight, now realize. But it was just kind of that gut instinct, even though it was an opportunity that I really wanted to take, but it was difficult for me to make work. I just knew that whatever I had to do, I had to do it. And it was obviously for some reason.
Now that we've started off 2022 on such a strong note with By Now, what's on the way? Are we going to have a Fia Moon gig this year? Are we going to see your name on some posters? Are we going to have more music? Is the merch on the way? Is the vinyl on the way?
Well, we're gonna work together on the merch, you and me, after this, because I could do with your graphic designs. But yes, I'd love to do some merch for sure. I'm booked for Independence Festival and stuff in the summer, and we're in discussion with other gigs. Obviously, we don't really know about what the live industry is going to be like in Ireland yet, but fingers crossed, kind of staying tuned for that. Definitely, definitely, definitely new music. And I'm really excited all about that. And I think the main thing for me this year is just to keep releasing as much as possible because that's what I enjoy the most. Obviously live music and gigs as well, but really releasing music is just such an amazing experience, and getting to finally put out songs I write either in my bedroom or try to communicate a certain feeling, and putting them out in the world, and having other people kind of absorb them and relate to them in their own ways is really special.
I can't wait to hear all the new music, of course. Can't wait to see you again live, wherever that is, whenever that is. And By Now is out now. Thank you, Fia Moon, for coming on Léim Thart.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.